Greetings, and I am now actually onto a new game, indie game as well, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. It was actually given away in the PSN free games for, I can't remember, it was January maybe? I can't remember, a couple of months ago. But I decided, you know what, let me finally give this a try. I mean, I like Spelunky, so surely I would like this. And yeah, I enjoyed this. Binding of Isaac's pretty much a top-down roguelike. Zelda kind of reminds me of Zelda, and it's kind of based on the. It takes a lot of its inspiration from the Bible stories, and it's very blasphemous as well, depending on the way you look at it. But it is very interesting. So basically, the Binding of Isaac is pretty much based on the whole Bible story. The fact that God spoke to Abraham, I believe, and told him to sacrifice his son or whatnot. And basically, this is how the Binding of Isaac Rebirth starts out. So Isaac and his mother are pretty much isolated in this place in their house. They live in a happy life, and his mother's watching a whole bunch of Christian shows, and eventually starts hearing the voice of someone. It's believed to be God. There is a lot of interpretation in this game, so I don't think anything's really been confirmed, but there is a lot of interpretation. But it is believed to be God, who pretty much says Isaac is corrupted by sin and he has to be purged from his evil. So at the start, the mother decides to remove his worldly possessions and strip him naked, and eventually it goes down to the mother actually hearing God say you have to sacrifice him, etc., etc. And Isaac pretty much sees all this from the crack of his bedroom door, which he ends up getting locked in. So he knows his mother is coming for him, and he decides to escape to the cellar. And he finds a trapdoor, that is, and decides to escape that way. And it pretty much leads to this world of monsters and creatures, and the only way the Isaac can actually pretty much fight back is using his tears that he spits out from his eyes. Obviously, you're not going to really see that in this gameplay because I've actually unlocked Azazel, and he doesn't actually spit out tears, but instead actually shoots out brimstone. But yeah, you can't really go wrong with a chargeable laser beam, so yeah. Anyway, so Isaac pretty much faces a whole bunch of manifestations of himself and a whole bunch of other stuff as well, and eventually he has to fight his mother in a boss battle, and it's a really interesting game. It's one of those games that it's not really difficult, but at the same time you do get punished for mistakes, and things can all go wrong in an instant. So you do get to pick up items such as this thin soil, whatever. You do get to pick up items and stuff to help you along the way. Each of them have different effects. I believe this game has actually got 100 more items, or 100 plus more items than the original Binding of Isaac game. And you can use these items and they'll change your tears in certain ways, or even change your character. So they might make your tears fire faster, they might make it slower, they might end up changing it to charm tears, which will end up actually charming the opponents, the monsters that you fight. And they're all pretty much helpful in some way or another, well, unless you get the tick as a trinket, which actually helps. You do get other stuff such as shops like this, so you can actually buy your own stuff as well. You are given bombs and keys and all that sort of stuff. It's the small details that actually make this game unpredictable, but at the same time you still feel like, okay, you can manage. I think one of the exciting things about this game is playing it for the first time and literally having no clue what some of the items do, but hey, they look cool, so you're like, okay, hopefully this is a good item and it's not going to screw me up in some way. I do feel that some of the descriptions aren't really that great, but that is some of the beauty of it. I think once you get one of those items that ends up making your tears fire faster, you feel good. But then as soon as you get some items which do absolutely nothing, you're like, okay, that wasn't so great. But then when you get an item that ends up taking away, I don't know, half of your health and stuff, you're like, at least you know not to pick it up for next time. But anyway, so I'm pretty much playing as Zaziel here, and I'm just rushing through it. I mean, usually I would be calm and collected so I could try and pick up a whole bunch of stuff, because early game Azazel is really good as he can fly over the gaps where the monsters can't actually reach him, and it helps because he can actually get a lot of coins that are inaccessible, which means he can end up buying some of this stuff which you may not have been able to do if you'd picked a different character like Isaac or Judas or Cain. So I think in this gameplay I have a clue about what some of the items do, so I know which ones I'm kind of looking out for. I know which ones are decent and which ones to avoid, like Plague. I'm trying not to get distracted by, you know, sacrifice rooms and curse rooms, etc, etc. I'm just pretty much just trying to speed through this, see how quick I can actually do all this in, and just picking up like random tarot cards and just fighting my way through. If I end up getting a boss room, I just pretty much go for it and let's do the thing. While I did say on the PlayStation I wasn't really going to bother with trophies, and to be honest I'm still not really that bothered with trophies, but I thought, you know what, some of the trophies look fun, and I mean that more in a challenge sort of way, because let's face it, you can complete this game under 10 minutes on your first go as well, so it's not like this game is ridiculously hard to complete. The beauty of it actually comes from repeated playthroughs, because on your first go you end up fighting your mother, but that's the last boss you can actually fight until you actually unlock more stuff, like more levels. Like the womb is an unlockable level, the cathedral as well is an unlockable level. This is something you can't really complete in one go, but as I said, there are a whole bunch of items, each of them have different effects, so your second go, your third go, your fourth go, your 459th go will not be the same as your first go, unless of course you abuse the seeding system, which I will probably get into another time. But there's enough about this game which makes each playthrough really different, so it's just a matter of how much you want to play it until you decide you want to move on to something else. And that's pretty much what I did with Spelunky. I said, you know what, I'm gonna go for this, this and this. These all look like fun challenges, and at the end of the day I do get an achievement out of it, and it's the same thing with here. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go for this, this and this. I'll get a trophy if I do actually complete it, and that was until I realized that some of the trophies are actually bugs. So despite me actually going through the womb and the utero not taking a single lick of damage, it still hasn't given me my trophy. I'm not entirely bothered about it. I mean, it is just for fun after all, but it is kind of annoying that it doesn't show up on my system, and it kind of explains why there are why a whole bunch of trophies in this game are ultra rare, and yeah. So would I recommend this game to anyone? Yes, I actually would. I would recommend it if you enjoy um, games like Spelunky, and if you enjoy a game where you've got 10, 20, half an hour of minutes to spare, and you just want to play something that's light. You don't really want to get into any heavy stories like, I don't know, Final Fantasy, or get really deep into an adventure like BioShock or Grand Theft Auto or something like that. Um, this is definitely one that you can sort of just play in 10 minutes, and to be honest, it kind of shows. I mean, I believe this started out as a Flash game on the PC, so for it to go through a Flash game and make it onto the PS4 is quite good. Don't know why I wasted that key on that. I believe it was an accident, but that's how much I'm into this game. But yeah, as I said, if you've got 10 minutes to spare and it's just lying on your console, just waiting for it to be played, give it a go. You'll definitely enjoy it the first time you play it, and if you get bored of it, fair enough, you don't have to continue playing it, but I guarantee that there will be something you can take away from the first few instances, and it'll be really fun when you're packed into a room full of whole monsters just gunning for you, and you're just zapping and just dodging all of these bullets, and it feels good. It feels good. Anyway, that is actually about it for this video. I'm actually going to go up against the Mask of Infamy now, and this would be the first time I've actually played this boss, but I kind of pretty much know what I have to do just based on the mask I faced in the previous room. But it's pretty much just a piece of cake when you're using Azazel. But anyway, that is it. Take care of yourself and keep being you.